Who else will join Hugh Jackman's Wolverine in Deadpool 3? The Hulk? Maybe Captain America? He is everything we want to see when the Merc with a mouth returns. When it was first announced that Hugh Jackman would be back as Wolverine, it may have brought about the same sense of excitement as when actor Josh Brolin was revealed to be taking on the role of Cable in Deadpool 2. While his portrayal of the futuristic cyborg warrior was well received, many might have been disappointed that the film put Cable into the role of villain for much of its runtime. Many fans are hoping that Deadpool 3 producers won't be tempted to do the same with Wolverine, by pitting the Merc with a mouth against the old knucklehead, instead making the film a true team-up. Given the friendship between actors Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, we don't suspect that Wolverine will be Deadpool's enemy, though we do expect to see at least one fight scene between the two at some point in the film. Seeing the two-blade wielding mutants with the fastest healing factors slicing and dicing away at one another will surely be a fun sight. But if the film is smart, it will dispense with the rivalry quickly and make Wolverine and Deadpool fast friends, reluctant allies, and a hard-hitting duo worthy of Jackman's return.
We work as a team.
They may adapt a popular storyline from the comics that saw the pair of X-Men join forces, or invent something new for fans to get excited about. But a proper team-up that lets us see the actors' impeccable on-screen chemistry might be what fans want to see most out of Deadpool 3. With the third Deadpool film now under the Walt Disney banner, it's now a realistic possibility for us to see the inclusion of characters from the MCU. We're not sure if that will mean the movie will take place within the Avengers universe or see Deadpool travel through alternate dimensions, but we fully anticipate at least a couple of MCU cameos. But what we want to see most is a reunion of the classic Avengers team, including the returns of Iron Man, Captain America, and Black Widow. Though all three characters have met their end in the MCU, this is Deadpool we're talking about, a series where anything goes and nothing has to make sense. If anything could get Chris Evans or Robert Downey Jr. to make their way back into costume, we could see them doing it for Deadpool 3, the film that convinced Hugh Jackman to unretire and don his claws once again. Whether it's for a big action sequence or a blink-and-miss-it cameo like James McAvoy's X-Men in Deadpool 2, a reunion of Avengers stars feels like the right choice. The chance for Wolverine to meet them is a cherry on top of the sundae. Even if it's just something silly, a comeback for our dearly departed heroes is what we're hoping for. We probably speak for all fans when we say there's one superficial element that we selfishly want to see for no other reason than its sheer coolness. That element is a comic-accurate costume for Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. It's remarkable to think that Jackman appeared as a character for nearly 20 years, but never wore any kind of outfit that even vaguely resembled his traditional comic book costume, and never once donned his iconic winged face mask. In the most curiously overlooked aspect of the Maverick multi-clawed mutant, fans were teased with a possible yellow and black costume in a deleted scene from the Wolverine. However, this scene was only included in the home release of the film. Thus, audiences missed out on seeing it in action because we never picked up his story from that point, with both Days of Future Past and Logan taking place at various points across the timeline. Of course, it would be just like Ryan Reynolds to know this is exactly what audiences want to see and play it for a joke, constantly teasing a costume that never comes. But in the end, putting Wolvie in costume is far too tempting for the notoriously fan-loving Reynolds, and would be too crowd-pleasing a moment for him not to include it. Though we can't consider this one a lock, we think it's more than likely the filmmakers deliver.
You afraid you might like it?
When it comes to matchups between a pair of heroes, few can stop Wolverine and the Incredible Hulk, a rivalry that began back in Wolverine's first appearance in The Incredible Hulk issue 181. By the late 2000s, both characters have made their way to the big screen, with Jackman making Wolverine famous, and the Hulk appearing in 2 films of his own before Mark Ruffalo took on the role beginning with the superhero team-up film The Avengers. While rights issues have kept the characters apart, it hasn't stopped fans from dreaming about a showdown between the two actors as their iconic characters. Following Disney's acquisition of Fox, though, fans began to wonder if their dreams could come true, with Jackman's mutant finally coming to blows with Ruffalo's monster. Hopes seemed dashed when Jackman doubled down on his retirement from the role in 2017, after the release of Logan. But with the Aussie actor changing his mind and coming back for Deadpool 3, we want to see the matchup finally happen, as it could be our last chance for the Hulk and Wolverine to meet while these two actors are in the roles. If you ask Mark Ruffalo, it could happen. Going by his comments on the Marvel List podcast in 2018, he said, "I love Hugh, and it would be cool to do something with him, if he's up to doing it. He's always teased Hulk vs. Wolverine would be pretty fun." If Ryan Reynolds and writers Paul Wernick and Rhett Reese are looking to adapt a story from the comics, one that saw Deadpool and Wolverine team up, the answer is clearly The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Named after the iconic Clint Eastwood spaghetti western, the 2013 storyline ran in the pages of Deadpool issue 15 through 19. Full of Deadpool's customary humor, it saw Wade Wilson enlist the aid of both Wolverine and Captain America in investigating new information regarding the Weapon X program. Though a movie adaptation would likely omit Captain America, or maybe not, now that Deadpool's under the MCU banner, it would be easy enough to substitute the Sentinel of Liberty with a character like Colossus or even Cable. But while the investigation into Weapon X could be compelling, it also could be a little played out, having been a part of multiple X-Men films. Instead, what we really love about this story is the spark that sets it off, as a mysterious villain is caught repeatedly stealing Deadpool's organs. While the Weapon X angle might be a nice idea to get the two heroes together, an organ theft plot that sees Deadpool calling Wolverine for help seems like the kind of sickeningly twisted story that Reynolds would enjoy. When the dust settled on the acquisition of 20th Century Fox by the Walt Disney Company in 2019, fans went into a frenzy anticipating a reboot of the X-Men films and their universe within the greater Marvel Cinematic Universe. But it's been years now and we have yet to see anything from the world of mutants in the MCU, with a few exceptions, including locations like Madripoor and the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. However, we may be in for a long wait, as Marvel has revealed its plans for Phase 5 of the MCU, with no X-Men on the calendar through at least 2025. But we know they're coming eventually. So why not include a direct reference to a new team of MCU mutants in Deadpool 3 to whet our collective appetites? She-Hulk is a bit more of a long shot, especially considering the divisive fan reaction to the Disney Plus series. But there's been talk that She-Hulk will be making her way to the big screen eventually, according to The Direct. So there's no reason she can't get a head start with an appearance in Deadpool 3. A longtime fourth wall breaker, Jennifer Walters' habit of turning to the camera and talking directly to the audience predates Deadpool in the comics, and continues to be used to great comedic effect in her own series. We believe seeing them sharing the screen and arguing over which one is going to get the audience's attention would be a recipe for comedy gold. And while much of the silliness in She-Hulk may not have been a hit with audiences, her tongue-in-cheek humor could feel right at home in Deadpool, where a twerk or a bruh might not be out of place.
Bruh!
Plus, if we do get a Hulk-Wolverine showdown, who better to break it up than Bruce's cousin, who can mock the overly macho boys for always finding a reason to fight amongst themselves. Heading into the release of Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, many fans were hoping for a parade of former movie guest stars. There were big dreams of seeing non-MCU heroes like Nicolas Cage's Ghost Rider or Wesley Snipes' Blade back in action across the multiverse. There was even brief talk of new versions of the Avengers, with rumors swirling of Tom Cruise suiting up as Iron Man, gossip that turned out to be entirely made up.
Nice!
Ultimately, though, the film limited its guest appearances to the Illuminati in a single key sequence, disappointing many. But if Deadpool is truly going to embrace the weirdness of being under the Disney and MCU banners, cameos from heroes from past movie universes would be the perfect card to play. Admittedly, we don't want Deadpool 3 to get bogged down in cameos, but that doesn't mean they can't give them to us in spades while keeping the movie focused on a streamlined story. After all, there's no better franchise to utilize one-off appearances from a gaggle of multiverse heroes than this one, where a joke can be played for a laugh before moving on. A cavalcade of cameos would finally fulfill every fan's fantasies. The opportunity to have Hugh Jackman's Wolverine finally share the screen with the likes of Ewan Griffith's Mr. Fantastic, or even Ben Affleck's Daredevil in single-scene gags might be too tempting to pass up. The internet and social media have been blowing up since the announcement that Hugh Jackman will be back as Wolverine for Deadpool 3. Hordes of fans have been assembling their wish lists of cameos and matchups. But in all the excitement over the unprecedented access the filmmakers have to any number of Marvel heroes, we want to make sure they don't forget that Deadpool already has an excellent supporting cast. That's right, with all the talk centered on Wolverine, let's remember there are plenty of great characters from the first two films we want to see back in action. That includes disgruntled cabbie Dopinder, Lucky Domino, steel-skinned Colossus, sardonic roommate Blind Al, and the jaded Negasonic teenage warhead. Heck, we might even get to see Firestarter Rusty Collins and time-traveling mutant Cable too. Let's face it, we want to see cameos, but only as long as the film doesn't get sidetracked so far that it forgets about old favorites. Some fans might worry that so many characters will hurt the film, but Marvel has excelled with large ensemble casts before, and even a solo film or two with plenty of guests. They can watch Captain America Civil War or Spider-Man No Way Home if they want to see how to do it right. No joke, we want to see Kevin Feige. Yes, we mean the president of Marvel Studios, the master of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and the man with the famous baseball cap. We want to see him in Deadpool 3. How and why, you ask? For starters, he's a king of all things Marvel movies, and it's long past due that the fans get a chance to show their love. Deadpool 3, the first film to firmly cross over the X-Men and MCU universes with a sense of good humor, is just the right place for it to happen. Don't forget, Marvel Comics founder Stan Lee has had cameos in nearly every major Marvel movie. And with his passing in 2018, maybe Marvel can pass the torch to Feige, the founder of the MCU. A movie that doesn't just break the fourth wall but smashes through it could easily see its star breaking down Feige's door and demanding answers when he finds himself in the MCU, unaware of Disney's purchase of 20th Century Fox. It might even combine our wish for an X-Men reboot tease, with the studio head knee-deep in franchise planning when we see him.
That'll do.